Hello, welcome to viewers to this channel. Thank you for subscribing and sharing with your friends. This is lesson 3 on ratio, and in this lesson we'll be talking about how to compare ratio to solve problems. So let's look at an example. A and B share an amount according to the ratio 5:3, and B received £27. How much does A receive? Now, don't get confused with this question with sharing according to ratio, because you have to remember that though we have the ratio, the amount given is not for A and B. This amount is only for B. So this is where you compare parts of ratio to find out the missing bit of the other ratio. So you set up your ratio as you normally do, A and B, 5:3. Now in the question, there's another number, 27. You need to know who it belongs to. It belongs to B, so put it below B. And we have a question mark here because that's what we need to work out. So it's just about creating equivalent ratio, and that's all this is all about. Now, the first thing to check is, can you see a connection? 3 has now become 27. What happened? In ratio is either times or divide. It's neither add or subtraction. So the connection is at times or divide. So you see that if you times 3 by 9, you get 27. And you must do the same to the other side. And that will give you the answer. But before we go to the answer, I wanted to show you another way. Sometimes when you set up your ratio, you realize that there is no connection straight away with that. Especially when you're not allowed to use a calculator. So when there's no connection straight away, other way is that always multiply the numbers across, like 5 and 27. You multiply that and you divide your answer by the number on the other side. So the across numbers you multiply and you divide your final answer by the number on the other side. This is what I mean. So if this working out will give you the same answer as what we've just done, 45. So if you multiply 27 by 5 and divide by 3, you'll still get 45. So this is just there in case you get a question where you cannot get the question straight forward. This is what you do. So we now know that A receives £45. A receives £45. And of course you could see when you simplify 45 and 27, you go back to 5:3. Second example. The ratio of the length of a car to the length of a van is 2:3. The car length is 240 cm. Work out the length of the van. So the same way, car, van, 2:3. This 240 belongs to the car. So put it under a car. There's a question mark. Check the connection. From 2 to 240. You know it's times by 120. Do the same. In case you cannot get the connection, remember, you times the numbers across. 240 times 3, then you divide the whole thing by 2. That will also give you the same thing. So 3 times 120, 360. So when you work this out, this will also give you the same thing. Now, let's look at example 3. This is where we have different units. So the ratio of real plane to its model is 9 meters is to 4 centimeters. 9 meters is to 4 centimeters. On a model plane, the length of its wing is 15 centimeters. Work out the actual length of the wing on the real plane. Give answer correct to nearest meter. Right. Now this question, though we've been given instruction to leave our answer in meters, it's best to work everything in centimeters and convert it back into meters, because we don't want to run into decimals when dealing with ratio. Avoid decimals. So we start with our setup of ratio, the real model, the real plane, and the model plane. The model is like a toy. Model plane is just like a toy plane. So the real plane, 9 meters, the toy is 4 cm. Now if you remember in lesson 1 about simplifying ratio, we need to make sure you have the same units. So the bigger unit meters needs to be converted into centimeters. Meter is longer than centimeter, so we're going to change 9 meters into centimeters by multiplying by 100. The reason is 100 cm equals 1 meter. So we multiply this by 100. So you have 900 cm is to 4 cm. So now everything is in centimeters now. 900 cm is to 4 cm. Okay, now in the question we have 15 cm. It belongs to the model. So you can now put 15 under 4. And we want to have a question mark here. Now you see this question, we may not have a direct number to multiply. So we go by across numbers we multiply, then we divide the final answer by 4. 900 divided by 4. Okay. Now you could work this out. So you can even divide 900 by 4. Quick way, you have it and you have it again. So 225 and times by 15, that will be the answer. And when you work it out, or you can multiply 900 by 15, divide the answer by 4. So you have this and you have it again, and you're going to have 3,375 cm. 3,375 centimeters. That's what we have here. This is an answer in centimeters. So we need to convert it into meters. Remember, meters into centimeters times by 100. If we're going backward, it has to be divided by 100. So we divide 375 by 100, and we have 33.75 meters. Now final answer to correct the nearest meter. So we know the real plane, the wing will be 34 meters. The wing is 34 meters. Right, now another example. Here, Ellie and Anne share an amount according to the ratio 5:8. Anne receives 18 pounds more than Ellie. Calculate the amount that each receives. Here, this one is not the ratio sharing that we normally do. So you remember, though the ratio is given to you, this amount is not even the whole amount that Anne receives. It's only a portion. So you need to be very careful when it comes to questions like this. Now, what we need to do here is set up the ratio and ask yourself, if Anne is receiving 18 more, it's because Anne is going to have more parts than Ellie. And if you can see, how many parts more would that be? It would be 3 parts. So the first thing is to work out the excess parts that Anne is receiving. So you could see Anne receives 3 parts more than Ellie. That 3 parts is the extra 18 pounds that Anne is going to have. So 3 parts represent 18. So if 3 parts is 18, let's work out 1 part. You divide it by 3, do the same to the other side. Divide by 3. So you can see that 1 part represents 6 pounds. Once you know 1 part, it's easier to work out any other part. So we need to multiply each of the ratio by 1 part, which equals to 6. So Ellie is 5 times 6, and Anne is 8 times 6, and it's 30 pounds for Ellie, 48 pounds for Anne. And you will see that the gap between 30 and 48 is what? 18 pounds. That's what the question gave us from the beginning. So you know the difference between sharing of ratio and how to really deal with ratio problems. So this one, you start with working out the excess parts and try to set up the excess parts equal to the amount that one receives more than the other. Work out 1 part. Then once you know 1 part, you can work out any other part. Let's look at one example similar to this. At a school, the number of boys to the number of girls is 7:5. There are 140 more boys than girls. Work out the number of boys and girls in the school. Alright, so we set up the ratio. Boys to girls. And if boys are 140 more, it's because boys are 2 parts extra than girls, as you can see. So let's work out the excess parts. So boys are 2 parts more than girls because 9 minus 7 equals 2 parts. That 2 parts represent the 140 extra boys. So set it up. 2 parts represent 140. You need to just work out 1 part. So divide each side by 2. 1 part represents 70. So knowing 1 part, we can work out any other part. So we need to work out boys 7 times the 1 part, which equals 70, and 5 times 70. So we have 490 for boys and 350 for girls. So we now know how to compare portions of or parts of ratio to solve problems. So this brings us to the end of ratio by comparing parts to solve problems. Our next lesson will be how to use ratio in recipe. Ratio in recipe. That will be our lesson 4 on ratio. Thanks for watching. Keep subscribing, share with your friends, and hit the notification button so that you'll be alerted whenever I post a video. Thank you very much for watching.